Santohei. The lowest rank in the Imperial Japanese Army during World War II was the Santohei, or private third class. Every new conscript or volunteer began at this entry level unless special qualifications allowed higher placement. Their duties were basic: guard duty, manual labour, and forming the bulk of infantry units. They had no command authority, serving entirely under superiors. Training focused on discipline, drills, endurance, and weapon handling. During World War II, the Santohei had no shoulderboard insignia. The plain uniform marked their position as the lowest rank. Promotion usually led to Nitōhei, private second class, within a year. Nitōhei. Above Santohei was the Nitōhei, or private second class. Soldiers reached this rank after demonstrating reliability and completing basic training. Duties expanded beyond manual labour to include more regular combat tasks, such as manning defensive positions and supporting infantry manoeuvres. They still held no command authority, but their experience gave them more trust from NCOs. Training at this stage emphasised coordination within small units and effective use of rifles and bayonets. During World War II, the Nitōhei shoulderboard displayed a single yellow star on a plain red field, marking the first visible insignia of progression in the army. Ittōhei. The Ittōhei, or private first class, stood above the Nitōhei and below the Jōtōhei, or superior private. Soldiers typically reach this rank after about 18 months of service, showing steady performance in both training and field duties. Their responsibilities expanded to frontline combat work, regular patrols, and providing stability within infantry squads. They still had no formal command authority, but were regarded as reliable soldiers in their units. Training at this level emphasized coordination, marksmanship under pressure, and discipline during longer operations. During World War II, the Ittōhei shoulderboard carried 2 yellow stars on a red field. Jōtōhei. The Jōtōhei, or superior private, marked the top of the enlisted private grades before advancing into the lower non-commissioned levels. Soldiers usually reached this rank after around 3 years of service, provided they showed discipline and consistency in the field. Their duties were broader than those of the first-class private, including regular combat rotations, unit support roles, and acting as the most experienced soldiers among the privates. They still held no official command, but their experience often gave them informal authority within squads. During World War II, the Jōtōhei shoulderboard displayed 3 yellow stars on a red background. Heichō. Heichō was the first rank above the private grades, also known as the Lance Corporal. It stood as a transitional role toward the non-commissioned officer class. Soldiers usually reach this position after 3 to 4 years of service, proving reliability and skill in small unit operations. Heichō often led minor work details, supported corporals in maintaining order, and acted as a link between privates and NCOs. Authority was still limited, but it marked the start of recognised leadership within the ranks. During World War II, the Heichō shoulderboard displayed 1 yellow horizontal stripe on a red base. Go-chō. Go-chō, known as the Corporal, was the next non-commissioned officer rank in the Imperial Japanese Army. Positioned above Heichō and below Gunso, it marked the beginning of formal leadership authority. Soldiers usually reach this rank after 4 to 5 years of service, demonstrating discipline and competence in battlefield operations. A Go-chō commanded a squad of around 10 men, enforcing orders and overseeing their performance in both training and combat. Training at this level emphasized leadership, coordination of soldiers in action, and strict discipline. During World War II, the Go-chō shoulderboard displayed 1 yellow star above a yellow horizontal stripe on a red base. Gunso. Gunso, known as the sergeant, stood above the Go-chō and below the Sō-chō, or sergeant major. This rank was a core part of the non-commissioned officer class, commanding squads that typically ranged from 12 to 15 men, depending on the unit type. Promotion to Gunso often came after 6 to 8 years of service, with proven leadership ability and battlefield experience. Their duties included maintaining discipline, directing squad manoeuvres, and ensuring orders from platoon leaders were carried out without delay. They also trained new recruits under their command. During World War II, the Gunso shoulderboard displayed 2 yellow stars above a single yellow stripe on a red background. Sō-chō. Sō-chō, translated as Sergeant Major, was the highest non-commissioned officer rank in the Imperial Japanese Army. It stood above the Gunso and directly below the Warrant officer, forming the bridge between enlisted men and the officer class. A Sō-chō often commanded a platoon-sized element of 30 to 40 soldiers, working under the direction of a lieutenant. Promotion to this rank usually came after more than 10 years of service, with long experience in both field operations and leadership. Their role focused on maintaining order, discipline, and ensuring efficiency across the platoon. During World War II, the Sō-chō shoulderboard carried 3 yellow stars above a single yellow stripe on a red field. Jun-i. Jun-i, or warrant officer, was the first step into the commissioned officer class, positioned above the Sō-chō and below the Shō-i, or second lieutenant. It was considered a transitional rank, often awarded to veteran NCOs who had proven exceptional leadership and technical skill. A Jun-i typically served as the deputy leader of a platoon or as the officer in charge of specialized duties, such as logistics, weapons, or training. Their authority extended beyond squad and platoon levels, but they were still junior to full lieutenants. During World War II, the Jun-i shoulderboard featured a yellow base with 2 red horizontal stripes. Shō-i. Shō-i, or second lieutenant, was the entry-level officer rank in the Imperial Japanese Army, positioned above the Jun-i and below the Chū-i, or first lieutenant. This rank marked the beginning of true commission command. A Shō-i typically led a platoon of about 30 to 40 soldiers, supported by sergeants and corporals. Promotion into this rank usually required successful graduation from the Imperial Japanese Army Academy or advancement from the Warrant officer class through long service. Their responsibilities included directing platoon maneuvers, enforcing discipline, and executing company-level orders. During World War II, the Shō-i shoulder board featured a yellow base with 2 red horizontal stripes and a single yellow star in the center. Chū-i. Chū-i, or first lieutenant, sometimes also called lieutenant, stood above the Shō-i and below the Tai-i, or captain. It was a junior officer rank but carried greater responsibility and authority than the second lieutenant. A Chū-i often commanded a platoon of 40 to 50 soldiers, or in some cases acted as the deputy commander of a company. Promotion usually came after several years of service as a Shō-i, or through strong performance in officer training. Duties included leading platoons in combat, overseeing training schedules, and maintaining discipline across their units. During World War II, the Chū-i shoulder board featured a yellow base with 2 red horizontal stripes and 2 yellow stars. Tai-i, or captain, was the senior-most of the junior officer ranks, marking the final step before entering the field grade officer class. Captains typically commanded a company of around 150 to 200 soldiers, supported by lieutenants and a full staff of non-commissioned officers. They carried responsibility for training, logistics, and battlefield performance of their company. Promotion to Tai-i usually followed several years of service as a lieutenant and successful leadership in the field. Captains were trusted with independent decision-making at the company level, balancing both administration and combat duties. During World War II, the Tai-i shoulder board displayed a yellow base with 2 red stripes and 3 yellow stars. Shō-sa, or major, was the first of the field-grade officer ranks in the Imperial Japanese Army. Majors often served as executive officers within battalions or as staff officers at the regimental level, making them critical in planning and coordination. They were responsible for overseeing operations, relaying orders, and ensuring the battalion's companies worked together effectively in combat. Promotion to Shō-sa came after years of proven leadership as a company commander. Their role required both administrative skill and battlefield decision-making, balancing tactical execution with higher-level planning. During World War II, the Shō-sa shoulder board carried a yellow base with 3 thin red lines and a single yellow star. Yellow. Chū-sa, or lieutenant colonel, ranked above the major and below the colonel within the field grade officers. A Chū-sa typically commanded a battalion of 500 to 1,000 soldiers, making them one of the most important operational leaders in the Imperial Japanese Army. Their role involved both directing combat on the ground and ensuring that supply, logistics, and communication needs were met. They also served in regimental staff positions, shaping broader tactical planning. Promotion required long service and demonstrated ability to manage large formations under pressure. During World War II, the Chū-sa shoulder board showed a yellow base with 3 thin red lines and 2 yellow stars. Tai-sa, or colonel, was the senior-most of the field-grade officers, positioned just below the generals. Colonels typically commanded a regiment of 2,000 to 3,000 soldiers, making them key battlefield leaders in the Imperial Japanese Army. Their role required balancing direct operational command with larger-scale planning and coordination with division headquarters. Colonels oversaw regimental staff, logistics, artillery support, and the integration of multiple battalions in combat. Promotion to Tai-sa demanded long service, proven battlefield success, and the ability to manage thousands of men effectively. During World War II, the Tai-sa shoulder board displayed a yellow base with 3 thin red lines and 3 yellow stars. Shō-chō, or Major General, was the entry rank among the general officers of the Imperial Japanese Army. A Major General typically commanded a division, often consisting of 10,000 to 20,000 soldiers, or served as a deputy commander within a larger army formation. Their role involved overseeing operations at the divisional level, managing artillery, supply chains, and the coordination of multiple regiments in battle. Promotion to Shō-chō marked the transition from regimental leadership to broader strategic responsibility. During World War II, the Shō-chō shoulder board featured a yellow base with red borderlines at the top and bottom, and 1 yellow star at the center. Chū-chō, or Lieutenant General, ranked above the Shō-chō and below the Tai-chō, or General. Lieutenant Generals typically commanded a corps or an entire army, often numbering 30,000 to 60,000 soldiers. Their responsibilities included directing large-scale campaigns, coordinating multiple divisions, and ensuring supply and logistics for sustained operations. At this level, strategic planning became as important as battlefield execution, and Chū-chō often worked directly under the Imperial General Headquarters. During World War II, the Chū-chō shoulder board displayed a yellow base with red borderlines at the top and bottom, and 2 yellow stars across the center. Tai-chō, or General, was one of the highest ranks in the Imperial Japanese Army, standing above the Chū-chō and below the Commander-in-Chief. A general commanded entire army groups or regional commands, often directing over 100,000 soldiers. Their authority extended to overseeing corps, divisions, and support units across a wide theatre of operations. Tai-chō were responsible for strategic planning, coordination with the Imperial General Headquarters, and the execution of nationwide military objectives. Only officers with decades of service and proven leadership at the corps level could attain this rank. During World War II, the Tai-chō shoulder board displayed a yellow base with red borderlines and 3 yellow stars across the center. Daigensui Rikugun Tai-i. Daigensui Rikugun Tai-i, often translated as Commander-in-Chief or Marshal of the Army, was the highest possible rank in the Imperial Japanese Army. This rank was not a standard promotion, but an honor granted directly by the Emperor, reserved for the most distinguished generals. Holders of this title commanded entire national or multi-theater forces, carrying the supreme responsibility for strategy, operations, and the execution of Japan's war aims. It symbolized both military authority and imperial favor, making it as much a political role as a battlefield one. During World War II, the Commander-in-Chief shoulder board featured a yellow base with red borderlines, 3 yellow stars, and the imperial chrysanthemum crest.